All right. Welcome to episode number 4 of Just Another Weird Day. Today we have Nico.
Introduce yourself. Say hello.
I'm Nico.
He is indeed. So first we're going to play Guess the Object. You got 10 questions to figure out what object did I bring for this podcast.
He always has a secret up. In case you didn't know. That's
Yep.
what we've been doing every week.
So you got 10 questions.
Okay.
Yeah. I should make him do it by himself. Huh?
Is it from
me a break.
your 3D printing?
No.
Question.
Is it from downstairs?
No.
Is it as big as my hand?
It's bigger.
Is it dangerous?
No.
Is it yellow?
You
Can I-
sleep with it?
Can I eat it?
Nope.
What is it?
3 more.
You play game?
No.
You wear it?
Yeah.
Oh. We wear.
Last question.
Belt.
Is it a belt? Is
It's
that your
not.
question?
It's not belt. The object that I brought, a hat.
Oh, I wasn't asked that. Wow.
It is my hat because
Plain sight.
2 things that this hat reminds me of. One, the inspiration for it, which was Peaky Blinders, a show that we watched, and
With
inspired-
Angel Vid.
with
I'll
Angel Yes.
mention that, but I don't recommend it unless you
Yeah.
have Angel Vid, and even then,
Yes.
it's a very intense show.
Yep. And then also, it also became part of our logo for the handyman business that we do. And so it reminded me of that as well, of our new adventure here in West Virginia of doing handyman stuff. And
Yes.
yeah, that's why I brought it. I think you have one as well somewhere.
Oh yeah, I have it.
Carol.
I did.
Just fun.
We should have brought that. Well, next time you're on, we'll have you wear that hat.
Next time on.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll fit next time that I'm on.
That's true. He's
Because it's
grown.
already really small.
You want to tell us about how tall you are compared to me?
Like 1, 2 inches taller.
Literally since this last month. That's really weird.
But I look a lot shorter in the camera because you're in front.
Kind of.
It's
Alright,
true.
well, there you go. You can look taller.
Yeah, now I look big.
I'm glad you're with us today, Mr. Nico.
You guys are gonna ask questions.
We were. So what were you just excited about telling us right before we started this?
I saw a guided hog hunt in Florida.
Yeah.
For under 500
And what do they provide?
guns and ammo, and also skinning it. Pay $15 extra.
Yeah.
And you
Say
keep
that
the
again.
meat.
It's hard to hear you, and I'm right next to you. So I
Well,
don't know if our audience.
I'm
can
just
hear.
looking at this. See the sound, and it's going on the green, and
Okay,
the slightly.
You're so direct that they can hear you whispering.
Yeah, I know because I'm in the middle, so it's easier.
Okay.
So I can
what does
talk
it
quieter,
provide?
and it'll be the same.
Less than $400 or $500, and it provides.
Ammo and guns, and also you can skin it for.
You
Like
can,
no,
or
like
they
will skin.
Yeah, that was.
will they butcher it too, or just skin it?
I think they might just. I think they might butcher it, but I don't know. Because I only like talk to them
And
one
do you-
single time.
Do you know what city that's in or near?
It's near, above it. I think.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's
Sounds-
above my like
Interesting.
an hour above it.
Okay, so new goals for his birthday this next year. He turns 14 in November. Maybe. Or before. I don't know.
I mean,
Sounds like-
summer's also good.
That would be hot in
That'd be warm.
Florida.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Sweaty. Just like.
I told him he needs to find a resort for me and the
Resort?
rest of the
Yeah, there was a resort nearby. I think the address was wrong, but it was in the middle of the freeway. These Google Maps is that crazy.
But there is a resort near hog hunting.
So
Yeah,
that you could have your dream and I could have mine.
That's cool.
So funny.
Well, a few questions for you. We asked ChatGPT to help us out. I like the second one. If you could switch lives with any character from a book or movie for a day, who would it be and why?
That's can
I
I
don't know.
can
What's the
I
thing?
mention again
What?
your binge read like last month?
Oh, I was in one single night.
But what book was it? Do you
The
think you'd
Lewis and Clark.
Oh,
There you go. That would be an interesting one, wouldn't
I
it?
know, but that would also be
Terrifying. But
just
grizzly bears.
just the Indians,
yeah.
not the bears. The Indians,
That
Real-
would be scary.
because the people died inside.
Yeah.
Indians are really good hunters.
I know, because they like other people. I know, but some of them are actually nice.
But they would manage to
And then also they almost starved inside of the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
yikes.
Because
And
they hit it during the winter pass, right?
yeah, they hit it right before the winter passed and then got stuck inside when it was winter.
Oof.
And then like I think like no, none of them died.
Wow.
One of them just disappeared. Like one of the Indians just randomly walked away. It was like an older guy. They don't. Oh no! And then he came back actually later in the book
Whoa.
when they were going back. They found him again.
Wow. Okay. Well, that might be an
And
interesting
then they got
story
attacked
to
by the Indians
witness.
in the night. They tried to friend them,
In the
but then
winter in the night?
no, not in the night. It was like
Later on.
when they were coming back. There was more Indians, and then they saw them and they tried to trade with them. And then the Indians were with them. And then they,
Do you remember what tribe?
I think it was like Blackfoot.
Blackfoot.
Oh yeah, those are famous. Fierce Indians. The Blackfoot.
Wait, where even? I don't know if it was
Well, I mean, I
actually.
think a lot of Indians.
It was something. It was somewhere near the Bison Plain area. I don't know.
Midwest.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
the
like that would be
Midwest.
right.
Because they
There's
were like
Cherokee over there. There's
Remember that map
the
with the
Cherokees on the
different
lower.
Indians?
They were like more northern above. I think.
the Cherokee. Above Oklahoma?
Yeah, above Oklahoma.
I don't know.
They're like they're like near
Montana,
the plains, like above.
Colorado.
Kind of like around, yeah, like around Colorado, maybe a little bit higher or a little bit lower. Around there.
Interesting.
There's a lot of info in this question and answer.
Yeah.
I'll only have to ask you a couple questions. We'll have to talk about.
I mean,
Love it.
I could do that.
I don't know that I'd want you to do
I
that.
don't know if I would want to be.
If you knew you were gonna survive, it would
Well,
be
yeah, if I knew, well, yeah, I would know that I was gonna survive,
I don't
and
know
then
if it would be an adventure if you didn't know you're going to survive.
yeah, I know, but like, I wouldn't be dead.
Yeah.
And if I'm not dead, that's
I
way.
guess that's the hope we have. Gee, we're gonna survive, even if we die.
Oh yeah.
What? Oh yeah. All right. Am I supposed to ask one?
Yeah, you got one?
Um, what? What is something you've learned recently that surprised you? I would even ask, like,
Oh, I just didn't know how much guns go. Thought they were gonna be like way cheaper, like only like rifles are definitely.
that's an
Yeah.
expensive hobby.
How'd you find that out? Did you buy one?
Yes.
What?
I bought a bolt action 308.
Nice.
Bolt action 308, left-handed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My left hand.
This is our one left-handed boy. Takes after his Aunt Jenny.
Sure.
And Nana, too. They both are.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't
I
know.
had forgotten that Nana also.
I think there was one other person. Pretty sure.
I'm sure there is on Mom's.
Oh, actually, I think I know who it was. It was I forget.
Mimi's side or Papa's?
No, it was on Papa's side. It was Emily.
Oh,
I think no,
Emily,
maybe.
are you? We'll have to double check on this.
I don't know. It might have been Emily, but no, I don't think it was Emily. It was some girl.
I have a lot of cousins, and I'm impressed that my kids have actually spent a lot of time with them overall in their life. Not too long of life.
Well, Malachi's.
Yeah, you've seen a lot. You all have. You've
Did
gotten to do
Malachi
a lot.
have his really crazy hair? crazy.
Speak clearly. What are you saying?
His really crazy hair,
No.
No.
like
Yeah,
where his
it's-
bed head, because he always has a bed head and the hair's like, it's like a turkey head. His all the hair is
You
just,
should show off your crazy hair.
my head's probably like, it doesn't have the back. It's just like more.
All right, I got a next question for you. What's the best advice you've ever gotten, and how did it change the way you think or act?
The best advice.
Mm-hmm.
Best advice. It's hard.
Yeah.
You're right. That is late.
I think someone's walking outside.
Oh,
Sound like someone was kicking snow behind us.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Best advice that I got.
I don't know why this is coming to mind, but it wasn't exactly advice. Just that crazy incident before we took our big 22 trip
Oh,
and
yeah.
we
I remember what
witnessed.
you were going to say.
What's that?
Well, it's weird
How about
because
say it? Say it. I want to know if I actually was
when we had gotten the Cane's food, we're sitting at the park and that crazy lady started walking by.
right. Yeah, and then. But how is that advice?
It wasn't exactly advice.
It's like the opposite of advice.
Well, you learned from something negative, you learned something good. So
Oh, so it's like,
it is
don't
kind of
be the person.
advice, but like not in the classic way. Because yeah,
So tell the story. What happened? What happened at the park at Keen's?
Some crazy
in
lady.
Vista, California,
What'd she do?
she was talking to
She just
herself.
started talking to herself. Well, she was already talking to herself.
So
But then,
let's set the
And
context.
she
What
was
were we
like,
doing? We got
we were
Cane's.
just,
We were
yeah, we
sitting at
got
the park,
canes and we were just
so
sitting at the
sitting on the
park,
grass, eating it, right?
sitting on the grass, eating it
We
normally.
were just finishing up,
Uh-huh.
and then she like walked by
Yeah,
or
she was,
was off in the
well, it was
distance.
crazy because I was kind of up on the hill with the food. You
Mm-hmm.
guys had finished eating and you were going down to the little creek.
Yep.
So there was a path between us, and she turned and like pointed at me and started yelling
Yep.
like profanities, cursing me so directly at me. And I like wanted to, I had this urge to run over and hug her, but I felt like, I know, I'm
You
a
want to
crazy person.
die. I had this urge to just go run over and
I just,
get
if,
poked by a needle.
no, I don't know. I don't think she was just high. I think she was something, well, I feel like she was
Well, yeah, it was.
demon possessed, and I just wanted to cast it out. And I'm like, she's someone's daughter, someone's sister, could be
No, as
someone's
long as you
mom.
don't
I
get
just
poked
wanted
by
to.
any needles she has.
Yeah.
I just wasn't even. Yeah, I did
Oh,
feel
no,
like a
yeah.
caution in my spirit, though. I did feel like God was like, maybe not. But it was really hard for me to just sit there, and I reached out my hands and just started praying. But you were right there watching all of that.
Yeah, I was just behind.
And what was your
Behind the side.
reaction to all of that?
You know, like the next week I got baptized.
The next week he got baptized, but
Or no, it was like 2 weeks. I don't know. It was really soon. It was
no,
within
it
a
was
week.
like it was.
So what led you up to what? How did that event lead to your baptism?
I did not want to be that person.
Yeah.
You had already made a profession of faith, but you hadn't like followed through in obedience with like dedicating publicly to the world. And then we had read the story because I had reached out to our friend, our pastor friend, and asked like, "Do you have any advice for what I should have done?" And he had sent the story about the seven spirits. Oh, what? Now I can't remember where it is. I should have looked up before, but it's okay. Anyway, it talks about baptism in that same chapter about being careful not to just try to cast out demons without a lot of prayer
Yeah.
and fasting sometimes. And,
What was the
and then we
last?
read that together. Last question. Well, I wanted you to input more what your thoughts were. Because I remember
That
you
was a
saying,
while ago.
I know, but I remember you saying that the darkness felt so real. You're like, I don't want to have any part of it. And it made you want to be part of the light. Like that was the language that I remember you using.
It's just kind of weird saying like stuff that you guys already know.
Yeah,
You guys are
but
the only people here. But like the camera is like not another person, so it's weird.
it's not like it's another.
Like technically, someone's gonna be like, listen,
Yeah,
but like it doesn't. It's like
Like Molly, she's a good fan. Shout out to Molly and Buddy. They've been.
I
Yeah,
know, but like it's you don't
it is
see
funny,
in
yeah.
person. It's
I
just
know.
like
It's
screen.
weird.
You keep getting distracted by yourself, don't you? You're like,
Yeah.
Here's that screen.
oh yeah, look, it's me. Well, I just think that was a really cool story.
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
Mhm.
Any other comments about it? Did that feel like a big thing to you?
Yeah, probably.
Was that life changing for you?
Obviously.
Obviously.
Okay. Well, I will ask our last question. That sounds good. Do you know how much we love you? Do you know that we love you?
Yes. But I don't know how much.
I really.
I don't know. I don't know if I was like.
We would die for you.
You think we would die for you?
Depends on the situation.
True. If you just
Right, if it was like all of the like other family and then only me, then you guys would definitely choose something.
Well, it's going through psychological scenarios. So
wow.
Yeah, if it was like, oh yes, all of this side of the
You don't
family
have to
or me, then you definitely choose all the other sides.
pray about how we can show you that we love you more.
I know, but if it was like
yes, we get your point.
Grandpa Curtis or something, and me, Grandpa Curtis is already really old, so like, probably choose me.
He would probably give up his life for you, I'm sure.
Like,
He already has in a lot.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be here without him. Love you, Grandpa Curtis.
Grandpa Curtis is already like,
95.
yeah, I know, like,
Yep.
that's
I know. He
already
was
really
praying about how he was so ready to go to heaven when we last saw
I
him.
know, but he's not.
Just wait, we're not ready
He's
yet.
still like just normal.
He still
Yeah.
has way too much life in him.
Still driving, even maybe.
I know. He's still driving.
That, but it's true.
My grandpa on my dad's side is pretty rad. It's very cool. We got to celebrate him
At
in
least we got to
Texas.
see his city. That was cool.
Yeah.
Like that he grew up.
Yeah, go
That
right
was
down to Corpus Christi
really
with them.
cool. Yeah, how often can you say that you like how many people in this world can say they had a tour of their great grandpa's home city by their great grandpa?
Yeah.
Because that's what you got to do.
And like the log thing.
The log thing.
Yeah, where like he pulled his whole entire house on logs
Yeah.
and moved it to a different property.
Yeah, just that's a crazy little story.
With his dad.
Back in 1930s, early 1940s, we were with him when we drove down to Corpus
We were with him
Christi.
in
He
1940s.
showed us when he was in the 1930s or 40s. He
Yes.
rebuilt his house with his dad because it had burnt down after
On
church one day.
Easter Sunday.
Yeah,
They had
and
all
so
gone as a family to church and something happened and the entire house was
so
burned.
it's an open
He was
field
18 at
now
that time.
behind a church, and he literally pointed out like that's where the house used to be, and this is the yard, and this is where the old house used to be, and this is where we built it, and here's where I used to go to school, walking
Corpus
barefoot up until he was
in high
in
school.
school, and then in high school they told him you should put some shoes on now. You're in high school. So anyway, pretty wild.
He was
hearing all
drafted into
that.
the Korean War and he
Yeah,
didn't end up
55.
having to fight, but he went all the way over there for a year after my grandma and him had been married for 2 weeks. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
tangent story, but
That was the last question, so you've been a trooper. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
9 minutes over.
oh my goodness,
Whoa.
we owe you next.
Man,
It's like almost double time.
I know. He gets extra points. He's the oldest. He's gonna knock everything off. Thanks, Nico.
All right, thanks, bud.
Love you, bud.
Stuff.
Oh my. He's a teenager.
And showing it.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to talk about dyslexia too. I know, I'm trying to fit you in the screen. It's funny.
I'm trying to make a person here.
Yeah. It's perfectly centered with the curtains. It's just you have to scoot over
I'm
more.
just on the edge of my seat waiting.
Scoot your seat.
So we're
So,
going to talk about from last week. Pull out of dyslexia.
Can you say that 5 times fast?
Dyslexia. I don't know if I can, but
Sometimes I wonder if you have a little.
I'm sure everybody's on the spectrum a little bit.
No, I don't know.
It feels that way.
I still have a lot to learn about it, but the few things that I've been told what it's like,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I mean, I think you did a little bit of research. Maybe you could tell us what you found.
Well, I think some stories about dyslexia I wanted to share. One, our daughter, she is the most prominent one that has dyslexia, I guess we could say. And she has some interesting strengths because of it. And so I like to build things with my hands, and she also does like to do that.
She
More
loves to
so
make.
than our boys. And this reminds me of a story when we were in Oceanside and I was redoing the floor in our little office in
Mm.
our rental house. And she wanted to help me put down the floor. And so it was like these vinyl plank flooring. And so you had to like, cut it to size to fit the different corners and around things in the room. And anyway, she was very, very good at it. That was 3 or 4 years ago. So she was 7 or 8.
Be 8.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So 8 years
she
old,
was
and she
little.
was, I mean, once I showed her this is where you cut and this is where you measure to make the cuts for the different corners, and she just ran with it and
She's
pretty
very
much
good
did the floor with
mathematically.
herself. And it's just a peel and stick kind of thing, so
Yeah,
it's
but
pretty easy to lay down. But yeah, an 8-year-old knowing how to find those corners and imagine in her head. So I guess the point I'm getting at is she was able to see the shape that the
next
flooring
piece.
tile, the piece needed to be in order to lay it down. And I think that's the strength of dyslexia is where you get to see
Shapes.
shapes in 3 dimensions in your head before it becomes reality. And so she's very good. I also do some 3D printing, and um, so she'll be like, "Hey, what are we printing today?" And we'll look up some different objects to print on a 3D printer, and she's able to describe in detail what she's looking for and be able to put it together in her head before it ever becomes reality. And it's cool to see.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah.
Bringing
So,
out the strengths in it. I think that's really helpful.
yeah.
I think that is really helpful. Even I think about my sister Bethany and um, my little brother Curtis. And I'm forgetting what Bethany's top strength is right now, but um, my little brother, he is a chameleon. So he really honed into the observation of relationships. And I think that's an interesting aspect that he pulled strength into from his dyslexia because I mean, he struggled so much. He was not writing full sentences till he was, excuse me, like 16. And yeah, there's a whole story there. But my mom just kept pushing and he just kept working. And his tutor, Angela, shout out to Angela, she was amazing. And he's gone through a certification program with cybersecurity and moving forward, has the sweetest girlfriend, Cass. Anyway, yeah, dyslexia. It's a struggle and a gift. I think a struggle because our society likes to cookie cutter learning in one way, when in reality, there's so many different ways to learn. So, yeah, I feel like this really could go into another discussion of like what are the unique ways that we make connections for learning. I
Mm,
do a whole probably research train on that, you know?
yeah.
And you and I learn so differently too.
Very much so.
Or maybe we just enjoy learning differently. We probably can learn in similar ways, but that's a
Yeah.
whole nother thing. Like the way you enjoy learning. Yeah. Because this guy can just sit down and read instructional manuals and pull out all this wealth, and I'm like,
I think I enjoy the process of problem solving of how to do this thing. I think that is fun to me. Like I'm the one who opens up a new board game and will read
Game master. Yep.
the entire rule book and then say, okay, this is
This
how
is
you
how
play.
you do it.
And so
Yeah,
I do
because
enjoy doing that.
yeah, you're able to sift out the important parts of a whole bunch of information. And I think I like doing that too, but I'm often doing that in relationship, like
Yep.
watching people
I like
interact,
it.
and I sift out all the different pieces and parts that I feel like they're trying to convey or seemed important to them, and then all conversations. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just so interesting
it is.
the way that we learn and enjoy learning and sharing what we learn. Anyway, yeah. So should we pull another
Yeah.
thing?
No.
I mean, obviously we've barely touched the topic of dyslexia because there's so much,
Yeah.
but it would be neat to have more people on here and talk more in depth about those things.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like an inch. Oh my
There we
gosh.
go. Lighten the mood a little bit, or maybe darken it compared to our last topics.
Show the screen. I'm like, what did you write?
Batman, the
Batman.
latest,
Latest.
the one that we watched a couple weeks ago, the Robert Pattinson one.
Um,
Yes,
man. Yeah, that one
all
is.
the things.
Yeah, that's psychologically so dark.
Yeah, it is.
So dark.
I mean, I think he was trying to become what was vengeance. He was vengeance, right? And then by the end of the movie, he's like, "Oh, maybe
People
that's
need
not
hope.
my role. My role is to give them hope." So
Yes. Oh, this really segues so good into what I wanted to share for a verse at the end too. Oh my
there you
gosh.
go. Yeah, well, that's good. We can go more into depth about that next week.
Oh yeah, let's go into that more next week for
Yep.
sure. For sure. But yeah, I got to visit with friends from California over inauguration weekend and got to see Cheka at her house today, and we were talking about this because yeah, I had shared this verse with her from Romans 2:4 about how God's goodness is what leads us to repentance. And it's so easy to be like, here's the law, here's the hammer, bring it down, here's the judgment. And I feel like this also goes with even last week's like, God is so merciful in his judgment. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Batman also learned that. It can't just be vengeance all the time. Like,
No.
there has to be
Yeah.
mercy, there has to be hope.
Yeah. That's good. I didn't put that together.
What part?
Not. It's not always about justice. There is mercy as well.
Well, you can't even have mercy without desiring justice. So
Yeah.
it is so
Yeah.
important to desire justice, but there's something even greater that God teaches
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
his own example of like justice is 100% important, but something even greater, which Jesus demonstrated by fulfilling justice and showing mercy. Because he's a both and God. He's a win-win God. Anyway,
I like it.
but we'll talk more about Batman next week.
There we go.
That does sound fun. We could go all the Batmans or only that latest Batman.
The latest one.
Um,
We can go into depth about the other ones, but
okay, we're gonna have
we're gonna try to do.
movie talk next week. That
Yep.
sounds fun. And we're gonna bring on a guest. I am excited about that. Emily, the
She is.
schema.
So okay,
She
we're gonna
wants to
figure it
jump.
out.
If we can figure out how to like get someone from far away into our
Yeah, Zoom,
podcast.
Skype call or something.
Yes, Zoom
Cool.
Skype call like next month later on in February. And hopefully we'll get Cheka too. She needs to tell her story.
Yeah.
She's got some adventures of faith and crazy weird days.
Nice. Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
Okay.
Okay. See you guys next week. Thank you.